All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down a truly massive project. I mean, this thing spanned multiple continents and involved everything from helicopters to some seriously high-tech gear. We're looking at how one massive YouTube project set out to save 1,000 animals from dying. And yeah, that's the number at the very heart of all this. 1,000. It is a huge, almost unbelievable goal for a single mission. So right from the jump, the scale was just set incredibly high. So the real question here isn't just what they did, it's how they pulled it off. I mean, how do you even start to coordinate something like that? Well, the whole thing really came down to three core strategies, and we're going to unpack them one by one. Okay, so the first strategy was all about getting their hands dirty. This wasn't about, mailing a check. It was about direct, immediate action with animals in the wild. And often we're talking about real life or death situations. And they started with a bang. I mean, think about it. Performing dental surgery on a lion. A tooth infection might not sound like a big deal, but in the wild, it can turn into a massive infection that travels to the heart, and that's it, game over. So the very first animal saved was through this incredibly high-risk, specialized procedure. Now, this is where things get really clever. You see, on this huge reservation, the anti-poaching fences are great, but they create a new problem. Weaker rhinos can't escape from the more aggressive, dominant ones, and they can actually get killed. So what's the solution? This four-step process. They hop in a helicopter to find the vulnerable rhinos, tranquilize them, fit them with some anti-poaching tech, and then physically move them to a whole new territory where they can be safe. And check out the tech they're using. This anti-poaching collar isn't just some simple GPS tracker. No, it's a smart device. It's actually analyzing the rhino's behavior. So let's say the rhino suddenly starts running, but there are no other animals around. The collar sends an alert. It's basically a high-tech alarm system that tells the rangers, hey, something's not right here. This could be poachers.
So what's really important to get here is that not all interventions are the same. On one hand, you have the tranquilizer darts they used on the rhinos. The goal there is simple: put the animal to sleep so you can move it safely. But then, on the other hand, you have these vaccine darts for the giraffes. This is all about preventative medicine. They're literally firing life-saving vaccines from the air to fight diseases that are 100% fatal. Two different darts, two totally different life-saving jobs.
And get this, they didn't just vaccinate one or two. By the time they were done, they had hit a total of 70 giraffes. It was basically a massive public health campaign from a helicopter. But, these direct field rescues, that was only one piece of the puzzle. The next strategy tackled a completely different kind of problem. All right, for strategy number 2, we're shifting gears completely. The focus moves from animals in the wild to animals that are trapped in human systems. We're talking about things like overcrowded shelters and slaughter auctions, crises that, let's be honest, are created entirely by us.
In this quote from the source, man, it just hits you right in the gut. Every 5 minutes. It's a shocking statistic that really drives home just how urgent the problem is for domestic animals. In so many shelters, time is the biggest enemy, so they needed a solution that would work and work fast.
This chart right here, it shows you the heart of the problem. Puppies, they get adopted at a pretty high rate, around 85%. But senior dogs, it's way down, only about 25%. And that means the older dogs are at a much, much higher risk in shelters. So any solution had to tackle that issue head on. So how'd they do it? Well, they hit it from all sides. They didn't just throw an adoption event. They removed the biggest hurdles. First, they made every single adoption totally free. Then, and this is a real game changer, they promised to pay for all future medical bills. That takes away that financial fear that stops so many people. And most importantly, they put a special spotlight on finding homes for those senior dogs. And it wasn't just about dogs. Nope. They applied this same strategy, jumping into a man-made system, to this situation. They went to an auction where miniature horses and donkeys were about to be sold for slaughter, and they just bought all of them, making sure they went to good homes instead. Simple as that. Okay, strategy number 3. This one might just be the smartest of them all, because it's all about playing the long game. Instead of trying to do everything themselves, they focused on empowering the experts, the sanctuaries, the rescuers, the vets, who are already out there doing incredible work, by giving them the resources they so desperately need. And just look at the range of support here. For lions in Ukraine, it meant funding a 7,000-mile flight to get them out of a war zone. Down in Texas, it meant physically building a brand new, safe home for an emu named Stompy. And here in the US, it meant helping release a sea lion named Gertrude back into the ocean after she recovered from getting tangled in a net. They also shined a light on this super innovative model that one sanctuary is using. It's being called philanthrotainment. Basically, they run a 24/7 interactive live stream where people watching can donate to give the animals treats. It's entertainment, but that content directly funds the entire nonprofit. It's a really fascinating modern way to do charity. And of course, empowerment also means cold, hard cash. After some really bad floods just devastated the area and wrecked plans for a new wolf sanctuary, the project stepped in with a $50,000 donation to help them rebuild and make it happen. It was a direct injection of money to help them get over a huge hurdle.
And this is a really important point. It wasn't just about big buildings. The money also went to cover super expensive, highly specialized care for individual animals, the kind of stuff many sanctuaries really struggle to afford. We're talking about things like creating a custom prosthetic beak for a duck, or the months of rehab needed for an owl that got hit by a car. So with all three of these strategies firing at once, the field rescues, fixing man-made problems, and empowering experts, how do they actually get to that magic number of 1,000? It happened through this just explosion of partnerships and funded rescues. This list is just a tiny piece of it. 212 animals through partner groups, over 200 released in the Amazon, 85 at a rescue in Georgia, 70 birds at a sanctuary, 48 turtles in New York, 20 foxes saved from the fur trade. I mean, the numbers just start adding up incredibly fast when you empower that many dedicated people all at once. But the final message of the whole thing wasn't mission accomplished. It was a call to action. Saving 1,000 animals wasn't framed as the end, but as the beginning, asking everyone watching to help them save the next 1,000. And that really leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. What do you think? Is this model of philanthrotainment, using these huge online platforms for massive, super fast fundraising and awareness, is that the future of how we approach activism and making a social impact? It's definitely something to chew on.